All right, everybody, thank you and welcome to another episode of Enclosed Cosmology Fellowship. Today we're talking with a special guest, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Just to kind of give you an overview of what we're going to be looking at tonight, we're going to do our introductions as normal. We also have a clip to play of Austin's recent visit to the Santa Monica Pier, a little comedy one, and then we have some stuff to look over that some footage I took at Sakat at Bear Lake in Utah. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty packed, fun night. So uh, glad y'all are all here with us again. I'll go throw it over to my main brother, Anthony. How you doing today? Shabbat shalom, brother. Absolutely. And we got a pretty special guest. You want to introduce him today? All right, yeah. So the man, the myth, the legend, Witsit Gets It with us here today, Austin. You've just been touring around, the United States, going a whole bunch of places, getting detained, some parts, getting. I feel like sowing seeds wherever you go, but having some struggles in some places and others, not so much. So I definitely appreciate taking your time, during the tour to come and meet with us. We're all fans. Like everyone here has watched, watches your shows. And your live streams and it's you just put out such good stuff, and obviously you're growing and growing and growing, and with this tour we've just it's getting better and better. So I know that was long-winded, but I'm just so super excited to have you here and with us today. So welcome, brother.
How's it going, man? Thank you for the kind words, bro. And I'm excited to be here with the familia. How's everyone doing? Doing for us. Way better, man.
Yeah, and we got and we got Frankie B with here, Nick. They're always with us on these streams, like 90% of the times. So we love having them here all the time and adding their voices and their opinions and their puzzle pieces to all the mix. So I'll start out with Frankie. How was your week, brother? Oh, oh, they can't hear anyone but me. Great, awesome. That's just exactly what I want. All right, give me a second, guys.
Hey, guys, we can't hear
Yeah,
anybody but Vader talking over it. Take on the
on where? On both of them? What is going on? I get it. I hear 10 million people are telling me that, and I can only do it at one time, guys. So I'm working on it. I didn't change any settings. I don't know why there's no volume. Give me a second, guys. What is it set over here on? Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry about this. I no idea what's going on, so I'm trying to get that voice switched back over. Chat. There we go. Okay, so I need to go.
Alright, they heard me.
They heard you?
Yes, I heard Frankie be on.
I don't understand. Like I literally had this working last week, and then all of a sudden my stuff is different. Chat,
So
maybe?
from my understanding, like they can, like the volume is coming through, it's just super low, right? It's super low for us. Is what I just listened to it.
Oh, the volume is a low bit, but okay. Is this working for everyone now? Maybe I need to change voices in Discord. Make sure everyone is at where they should be.
Barely. We hear Frankie. Coming in very low. Oh, Wendy said you fixed
I did
it.
fix it.
Witsit, yes,
Okay,
Witsit
perfect.
sounds great now.
Awesome. All right. So sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I'm glad I was able to get that fixed. But anyways, I'm gonna kind of roll it back since no one got to hear it. I gave that introduction to Witsit. Sorry to make you repeat yourself, brother, but how you doing this fine week and weekend?
Doing great, and glad to be here and chill with you. And that happens, man. No big deal. And yeah, dude, this is the familiar, so I'm glad to kick it. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Yes.
Shabbat, brother.
And Frankie, we're getting to Frankie. You want to go ahead and say your piece now that we got audio?
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Excited to have our guest. It's been a great week. We're going to have a great discussion. Just let the Holy Spirit flow and go where Yah wants to take us.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm at.
Perfect. And what about you, Nick? How you doing, Splitty?
Yeah, no, I'm good tonight. I just felt like changing this name a little bit, but yeah, no, I'm really blessed by this fellowship, and yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was telling kind of Witsit before, like we're literally all fans of him. Like I met Anthony through Witsit's chat, which then I came here, and then it started a whole nother thing with the YouTube, and then Frankie and Nick, and it's just like this whole table and the amount of chairs that keeps getting brought up to it and the amount of puzzle pieces that we get added to it is just it's so awesome. And I appreciate it too, because y'all give me a place where I can bounce ideas off and have intellectual conversations with people that I can start at a base level with, right? Like I'm not having to kind of fake it, like, oh, what about the Seahawks or whatever, what about the Mavericks or whatever it is. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing. All right, well, I kind of went through it. You want to go ahead and shout out those who you want in the chat, Anthony, and then you can do the same, Frankie.
Yeah, I can start. I want to say hello to Chance Niederker, little Elizabeth Borenson, Pepper Moon, West Blaze Music, Yaya Q, Scott B, uh, Daryl Lee. Shabbat Shalom to all of y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Reed Tacky. Shabbat Shalom. That's from the Take on the World.
Nice.
All right, from the Cosmology, we got Wendy Moore as usual. Thank you. We got Jeremy in the house. Johnny Cool. Abril Zaroth. I'm probably not saying that right. We got your wife, Francesca. We got R.A. Tracker, Reed. We got Davey. We got 21 likes already. Get the likes up, people. Keep it up.
Yeah, Rogan's up, guys. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I had speaking about my wife, I'm totally gonna embarrass her right now. But today when I called in on Sean's Torah portion, and I had a question, regarding my sister, but my wife came in, and so if y'all want to see what she looks like, go check out Sean's video, Kingdom Contact. I know it's so random. She's gonna be blushing right now and probably walk in here and beat me, but I think it's funny. So.
Wait till the stream's over.
Anyway, so yeah, awesome. Well, thank you both streams for being here. Again, thanks to Take On World for allowing us to jump on their platform and share our puzzle pieces with their community as well. So we definitely appreciate that. And so yeah, let's kind of get into the meat of it. So typically, Austin, when we get new people on here, I know you kind of recently did this with Uncommon Ground, so you can kind of give it as brief or little as as brief or expanded as you want. But we usually give when new people pull up a chair to the table, we ask them for their testimony. And my wife just walked in is carrying my youngest son and gave me the evil stare. So if y'all were wondering what was going to happen with that, but so yeah, we usually give what where you came from, and then our kind of cherry on top is like what was your aha moment or your, proverbial straw that broke the camel's back when it came to flat earth specifically, when you're like, oh my gosh, now the earth is flat with this last piece of information? Because I know it's like a whole bunch, but yeah, so if you don't mind giving a little testimony, and then that's proof that, that straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, sure. So I'm 29. I'm from Tennessee. I was raised Baptist, and so we went to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. And I just assumed it was real, right, because my family did. But then I started to get into my teens, and I realized that majority of the people there, it appeared to me, didn't actually believe it. Were kind of just going through the motions like I had been. I'd had some pretty real experiences, but as I got older, I guess I just kind of forgot about them, if you will. And then I started asking questions in church, like about Genesis 6. I was really big on that. It just didn't make sense to me, and no one would answer my questions, and every person I asked would run away from it. So I'm like, okay, you guys don't actually believe this book. You just say that you do. And so I started skipping church. I'd get dropped off, and I'd leave with a female or something or whatever. I thought I was super cool. And so I just kind of would have maybe said I was agnostic, right? But I will say I never would tolerate someone disrespecting the Messiah, right, Yeshua. But I just never really cared that much about it. And I thought, well, religion is primitive attempts of humans to explain the inexplicable, and there's 4,200 religions, right? So let me guess, yours is right, and everyone thinks theirs is right, and only they go to heaven or whatever. And that's kind of how I went through my adult life. Pretty apathetic, and so I never didn't think there was a creator, but I just didn't really put much thought into it and looked at it more as this energy that I could self-define, and that basically where I put more importance on self than should be there. So then I found out about the Earth, and it clicked with me that of course it was created, but I didn't actually even go re-examine the scriptures super closely at that point, believe it or not. And the person I was dating didn't really care much about it, so it was just kind of put on the back burner. And then I had an experience where I heard an audible, effectively not like an audible thunderous voice or anything, but it was my own thoughts, but it wasn't in my control. The thought wasn't in my control, and it was just a reoccurring thought. And it was that we were approaching the end, or the season of the end, or in the end times. Were the three phrases that were looped, and that the creator wanted to use me to wake people up. And so that just kept on happening over and over. We're approaching the end, we're in the season of the end, and I need to use you to wake people up. And I thought I was going crazy because I couldn't control my own thoughts, and I was completely sober. So eventually, just to make it go away, I went to my room in the back, and I said a prayer, and it was, "Dear Lord, I feel like you're telling me that we're approaching the end, and you want to use me to wake people up. If that's true, give me an undeniable sign." Amen. And honestly, as bad as it sounds, it was literally just kind of because I was annoyed, and I wanted it to go away, and it did. The thoughts went away, and then the next day, I had a few crazy experiences, just random, where I do this girl's car, I detail her car, and I've been detailing it 50 times for 2 years, and it's always at her house or where she gets her nails done, and all of a sudden she wants me to detail it on a Tuesday at a church, and I'm like, why am I at a church right now? This is super random. And then C.E.F started playing on my song, and it was specifically a song where he's talking to the creator and about how he's a Christian, and I was like, this is weird. I don't listen to this music. Why is Pandora playing this? And then I had a couple other weird experiences, and my mom called me talking about God, and I'm like, this is getting weird. And then I went home and I took a shower, and I decided to open up the Bible, and it was an NIV Bible I was gifted. I'd never even read it, I don't think. And I opened it straight up to Ezekiel 38, and I didn't know anything about that, right? But I read it, and I'm like, wow, this is describing this crazy war, and what is it? And as of now, I have a little more understanding to the timing of that. But I started just looking it up, and of course, you see mainstream preachers try to explain it, but they have all their different takes about what the countries are or whatever. But I was like, wow, so this is effectively an end time prophecy, and really the war of all wars, I guess you could say. So I was like, that's pretty crazy. That could be considered a pretty point blank sign. And I tried to analyze it, and I'm like, okay, there's 1,700 pages in here. What are the odds of me opening it up in the 38th chapter, starting in the top left of the page, and it's saying this? And I was like, well, I got these crazy feelings. I can feel the spirit, is what I know. That's what it is now. And like just taking me over. And
Did anyone else just lose Witsit?
oh, my bad, I might have
Oh,
came off the push to talk.
oh, no worries.
All right, so I felt the spirit, and I kind of got scared because I had this realization that it was super real, right? And so I was like, wow, this is so real. This is not really something to mess with. Because if this is real, it's not something I want to be going against, right? Or not listening to. So what I did was I started praying throughout that next week, and I started feeling convicted about things like hanging out with females and getting drunk and cussing and talking vulgar and just random stuff that I thought was really petty, but I started feeling bad about it, and I started realizing lies that I told, like little petty lies, and it started getting really hard. I wanted to go do those things again, and I thought they were petty, and I like, this is dumb. I don't want to not do these things. So then I woke up one morning and I went and prayed out at a park by myself. This was 5 days after the first experience. And I said, Dear Lord, please help me apply discipline to my convictions, because I just felt like I needed help. And I opened up the Bible directly to a verse in Proverbs that says, he who hates discipline despises himself. And actually the pages were stuck to.
Uh-oh.
You came off again.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So I opened up the Proverbs, and the top left of the page was in the middle of a verse, and the pages were stuck together. So it was actually sitting on top of my thumb. So I was like, wow, I need to go to the other page. And normally I wouldn't have seen this in the bottom right, but since the pages were stuck together, that's how I had to see it. And I go over there to read the beginning of that verse in Proverbs, and it says, he who hates discipline despises himself. So I was like, wow, these are two prayers, open the scriptures, direct answers to the prayer, specifically to the prayers, the first thing I read. And so I was like, wow, this is super real. And so what I ended up doing, I got a call 2 weeks later, and I got this offer to go maintain a house on 5 acres in the middle of nowhere. Moved me out of the lifestyle I was living. It just took me out and put me by myself. And that's not a coincidence. I know this now. And I just dove into the scriptures and prayed and fasted, and I realized the power in fasting and prayer and disconnecting, and that when I ask him questions, he answers my questions. And that was about 3.5 years ago. So that really started the real realization of how real the relationship is with the Father, and how it's personal, and he loves us. And that's really kind of my testimony. I went from being raised to it, to thinking it was fake, to realizing it's more real than ever. And in fact, religion is actually used to deceive you and push you away from it. So that's kind of my testimony quickly, I suppose, trying to be quick. And then my real realization about the Earth, I don't know, honestly. For me, I already knew the moon landing was fake. And so when I found out that was the supposed one real picture of the Earth, I knew immediately something was there. And I guess the real moment was when I found out about the Chicago skyline. And I knew that was impossible. You wouldn't be able to see it. So that, and then the fact that the stars reset over top of us, I didn't know that either. So those two are probably the big ones for me. Just where I was like, oh, wow, they definitely lied about the Earth, and it's not moving, and it's the center of everything, and it's flat, or certainly at least bigger than they told us. And then, of course, I found out, oh, well, it can't be bigger than they told us. So I'd say that was it for me. And then since then, that was 5 years ago. So I've obviously found out way more concrete evidence since then. But really, honestly, for me, it's just the skyline of Chicago and the stars resetting kind of was obvious.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a lot easier than mine. Y'all literally had to tell me verbally that it was what he said. I was praying about it, diligently praying about it, because it was taking up a lot of my life, just researching this and doing that. And I finally, I just asked, I said, y'all, what is it? And just like it was somebody in my bedroom just said, I said what I said. I said, okay, I'm done. That's it. I know it's flat. I know what it is now.
Wow, that's awesome, because Jack actually has a similar experience where it's like, I meant what I said.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And it might have been something like I meant what I said, or it might have been something like he said, I said what I said. Or, I can't remember exactly, but like you said, it's been 5 years ago. It's been a minute.
Yeah, so mine was a little bit different. So I came to Torah because of the flat Earth. So I was looking like I'm a very analytical, logical mind. So mine wasn't actually scripture at first. Now, just a little quick in a nutshell. Like I was raised Baptist too, like very similar story. Get teenage years, like just like I was taught, like I always knew that God existed, but it was way easier to put him in the back of my head like I did Santa or the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy and say like, yeah, they're kind of real, but it doesn't really affect my life. And I say all that because like me, it was the Book of Enoch. I read that and I was like, oh my God, Genesis 6. Now, because Genesis 6 has always been, Genesis 6 and Revelation 9 have always been like things I've always asked pastors about and never were the same thing. Never really got answers about them. Oh, it's metaphor. Oh, it's this or that. And but anyways, yeah. So it's so crazy, like to me because I personally can't remember what that final like nail in the coffin. If I said anything like what really, uh, you know, going off the top of my head, like one of the things that really changed me was like you were talking about the Photoshop. Like when I saw the blue marble and then you see literally the copy paste of all the clouds, it was like why would like we had always asked why would they lie? And it's like, well, this is a purposeful thing. This isn't an accident. This isn't this is a malicious thing, kind of like the Obama birth certificate. I don't know if y'all ever saw that or not, but anyways, yeah, well, we definitely appreciate that, and so like,
I got my first pastor was a Messianic Jew. He was raised Jewish, and then he received Yeshua as a savior. And one day after service, he said to me and my friend Jim, he said, "Hey, what do you guys think about Genesis 6?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then he said, "One day we'll do a Bible study on it." So I immediately looked it up with the Nephilim, and I was like, "We got to do this right away." I looked it up as soon as he said it. I just thought that was funny. That how every other pastor told you nothing about it, and he brought it to my attention, and then that set me on a rabbit trail. Years later, looking into the Nephilim and looking into the giants and Chuck Missler and all that, talk about end times and alien invasions. And so, yeah, he planted the seed when I first received Yeshua.
Yeah, and what's crazy? Like I think about all the times you're kind of talking about like the little lies and things you said. Like my nieces and nephews, when I still was a Glober, I would say things like, "Oh, do you know if you had a stick long enough that you could poke the moon?" And like looking back on that, I feel so ashamed because it was like I was talking with such arrogance and like I know exactly what the moon is, and now come to find out like I have literally no idea what it is other than it's a lesser light that governs the night. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that creation's so majestic. It's supposed to be where you can't fully understand the magnitude of the majesty. I think that's kind of what flat Earth makes you realize, and you have to be humble enough to accept. We should want to know, but we're not going to be able to fully understand it. I think that if we saw like an orthographic view of the mechanisms of how the Earth works, like it would blow your mind. And I think it's kind of supposed to be like that. So you have to acknowledge the Creator.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the Romans thing where no man will be out with excuse because by creation is plain to see. So it's like that. That's exactly what it is. It's so unexplainable. The only way that you could have something like that would be from a creator.
Exactly.
Austin, have you ever read what the Aramaic Targum says about the creation of the sun and moon?
I don't know.
Kind of paraphrasing, it's basically that the moon and the sun were equal light, and then the moon transgressed the sun, and that she was put beneath the sun as a lesser light, and the stars, and over the stars.
Oh wow, sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And like the connection with the moon and femininity and the connection with the sun and masculinity. It's an interesting topic. I wonder if maybe has some like Gnostic views to it, but who knows? I haven't done enough research to say either way.
I think it's wild that there is a map of our realm on the moon, and it really from the research that I've done on it, it really does seem to be like in Enoch, how we're at the north gate, and then there's an east gate, a west gate, and a south gate, and we're positioned where there's life at the north gate of this realm. I think the realm's a lot bigger than what we know.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course that's true, but is there the firmament and then more land and then another, like how Sean is kind of showing on Kingdom in Contest with the 7 layers. Like there's so many, like there's the Buddhist maps showing you like the ring and then outside ring and outside ring of lands. Like we really have no idea. We can't go there even if we wanted to. So when it comes to like extra land and stuff like that, like it wouldn't surprise me if it existed, even if it was just the circle that we have with with the modern maps and the way they have them. They could easily hide lands on Google Maps. Like go on Google Earth and just look at all the ocean that's just like copy paste waves over and over and over. So yeah, there's no way to even tell if we have extra land within our reach.
There's so much uncharted land that they're not telling us about. I definitely believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, to switch gears a little bit, again, thanks for that, Austin, for those comments there. And so we had previously talked about like doing some clips and stuff like this. Now, me playing this, unfortunately, I think if I try to stream it to everyone in Discord, then what's going to happen is y'all are going to have double sound if y'all want to watch it. It's about 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to watch chat. If chat says that they are hearing an echo, please let me know as soon as you can. Just so I can make sure that I want my guests to be able to, and everyone on here, be able to see it as well. So I'm going to share my screen on. Oh, let's go here. We're doing apps. Perfect. Okay, so those who are in Discord with me, you should see the video. You should be able to click on my name and click on live and get in to watch it. And then
Wow.
once y'all
That's
are in
awesome.
to watch it, I'll play it for both y'all in the stream. So just let me know with who in chat wants to watch it when you're ready. We'll go.
All right, I'm in.
All right, here we go, guys.
Earth is really flat like a pancake
F.
or a
World said he's
pizza,
hearing double.
then wouldn't you be able to see Mount Everest from across the world?
They are hearing double?
Yeah, that's what Joe said.
Joe,
All right, how do you exit out?
I hadn't even played it yet. We cannot hear you well, Vader.
Mr. Anderson, barely hear.
Why my sound is doing that? All right, guys, I'm breaking down. I'm just gonna buy it straight up mic.
Just let it stream to the YouTube channel. We don't have to watch it.
Okay.
Well, no, you actually couldn't. That's scientifically illiterate. You have something called the angular.
Oh, 1 second, guys. Gonna get that switched over on the stream. Here you go, guys.
Wes hears it fine.
That way. Well, okay. If the Earth is really flat like a pancake or a pizza, then wouldn't you be able to see Mount Everest from across the world? Well, no, you actually couldn't. That's scientifically illiterate. You have something called the angular resolution limit of the eye. You can only see so far. That's why when you look down this bridge, even though it's actually elevated, right, you will see the different elevations of the light poles, even though they're all the same elevation, because as something gets further away from you, it decreases in what it looks like of your view, right? And in addition, there's something called the atmosphere, even though there's no sphere, right? And you can't see through the atmosphere forever. Sometimes you can't even see the Hollywood sign from a couple miles away, based on how foggy it is or how dense the air is. So, no, you wouldn't be able to see Mount Everest across the world if the Earth is flat. It's called angular resolution limit. You have a perspective. Railroads look like they converge. A long hallway looks like it converges. Like the floor and the ceiling come together. They don't actually come together. It's just perspective. It's a trick that your eyes play on you. Okay, it's called angular resolution limit. Okay, in addition, you have something called the atmosphere. Can't see through it forever. So when you say, if the Earth was flat, you could see Mount Everest across the Earth, that's called a straw man fallacy, which is misrepresenting the actual side of the argument that you're arguing against. You will find the only argument that exists against flat Earth are straw mans every time. Straw man fallacies. Don't worry, I debate the astrophysicists you guys look up to. They can't answer these questions either. Well, if the Earth was actually flat, then why do boats disappear behind the curvature, huh? Well, did you know that actually when you see a boat disappear, you can pull binoculars out and you can see the boat again? And then it'll disappear again and you can pull a camera out like a Nikon P900 and you can zoom in and you'll see the boat again. So, did my P900 go X-ray vision through the curvature of the Earth? No. See, what happens is when something gets too far away from you, you can't see it anymore because it reaches its perspective limit. Once you increase how far something can see, you can see it again. So people are told, even in school to this day, that boats disappear behind the curvature, but actually boats disappear and then you pull out a camera or a binocular and you can look at the boat again. So what that proves is the boat didn't disappear because it went behind a hump of Earth curvature on a ball. It's because it got so far away you can't see anymore. You have to increase your zoom. And you can increase your zoom with binoculars, a telescope, and then a camera. And you can keep bringing the boat back over and over and over. Light refraction. Okay. Okay. So if I'm 2,000 feet above sea level and I see mountains 273 miles away and they should be hidden by 3 miles of Earth curvature, how does that work? Do you think you have to believe in science? If I open up a gas pressure container, what happens? We shot a laser from 6 feet elevation, 31 miles. Based on the globe Earth math, there should be hundreds of feet of curvature blocking it, yet we could see the laser 31 miles. How does that work? So I shot the laser 31 miles, it was observed, and we took an outside angle, and it showed that the laser was completely horizontal, and that just refutes your rebuttal, which was that it was curving.
The outside measurement, what were the exact...
No, we videotaped the laser from the outside, and it was completely horizontal.
Yeah,
you're saying it was curving over 600 feet that wasn't there.
Again, if you're taking a picture of that, the picture is also going to be subject to those same laws.
Oh, so it looks flat, but it's curving 600 feet.
It really depends on the kind. That's why I'm asking you for the specifications of the laser, which you haven't given me, and the specifications for the camera.
Right,
because yes, that can be explained.
Yeah, field engineers did this. This is a very high-level conversation. Do you understand lasers that well? If I start spitting off the specifications of it,
well enough to be able to look up whether you're right or not.
Okay, so what's the most coherent point source laser that you can get? How's it measured?
Let's find out.
Game.
Nice.
That was hilarious, bro.
Dude, literally every time you were talking to that guy, he kept just going to his phone. It was insane. It's like dude, I could not stay in a conversation like that. And then when obviously like little later on in that clip, in that conversation, he's like, well, it depends if it's a black hole. And then you just like turn around and walk away. It's just like, at what point can you talk to someone who just can Google anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, in real life, that dude would be useless, right? But just because it was being videoed, I guess, sometimes it's good for people to see, like, the problem, which is that people will know nothing about it but know you're wrong, and they'll just, before they read Google, believe it. That he preemptively believed the Google search every time. So, I mean, it was super frustrating, but that's kind of the deal with the tour. I just got to, like, put up with it. But, yeah, it was wild. No matter what I said, he just Googled it.
You know,
one second, Anthony, and like that last part that I pointed out, he literally was like, okay, what's the specifications of the laser and the camera? And he's like, and then you're like, if you know any, even if I tell you the information, will you know? And he's like, well, let's see, let's Google it. So why was he even asking for these, technical detailed information that he would have no point in of asking for? It makes zero sense.
Crazy, bro.
What were you gonna say, Anthony? I'm sorry, brother.
Something along those lines, and I kind of forgot. Everybody in the chat was saying it was a good video and all, but yeah, I get into situations like that too. It's like, you know they're trying to troll you. You know they're just trying to start a ruckus of some sort, but you still got to give that person 5 minutes, because we were all in that same position. I remember when I first heard the term flat Earth, I was like, "What? I'm fixed to prove this guy wrong in 5 minutes. Watch this." Here I am 6 years later, trying to tell everybody about how the Earth is flat and all. But yeah, you still got to give even the trolls a few minutes of your time, and just like that guy Google stuff. He read it for himself, and you could kind of hear it in his voice, like, oh man, maybe this guy's right. Maybe he'll go home and try to prove you wrong. You see what I mean?
Yeah, they're calling that guy Mr. Google.
That's hilarious, Mr. Good. But like the crazy part was, I got to where I was getting so frustrated with him because he was taking so long to Google that I would just tell him what Google will say. I'm like, well, here's what Google will say, and he still would look it up, and then it'd say exactly what I told him it's going to say, and he'd be like, oh yeah, well that's it then.
Yeah. He was at the same time of calling you basically dumb for, like you said, knowing more about what he believes in than he does. It's like, I think it's a good, like what Anthony's saying is true. Like being able to maybe plant some seeds in him that maybe he'll change his heart. That's always a bonus. But also showing like everyone else, like the third party that may be on the fence, to see like, wow, I would actually, if I went up against Austin, I would be having to Google just the same.
Me too.
Vader Google. Yeah, they're asking you to turn your mic up, Vader.
All right, I'll just yell as loud as I can. Sorry, guys. All right, well, did anyone did every, like Austin saw it? Did y'all end up? Did anyone else in the panel get to end up seeing it? The little video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see the clip you put together, but I was watching what was going on last night.
Yeah. All I basically did, for those that didn't get to see it, is I just added, because it's like he was literally having this super, focused information, and out of nowhere, like literally out of the frame of camera, you just hear someone saying, "Refraction." That's because of refraction.
Yeah, a new foe has appeared. That was funny.
Yeah, I think it was pretty funny. Okay, so what we're gonna transition to now is I'm gonna give you all a little information about like my trip. So we went to Bear Lake this year in northern Utah. It's a lake that is 19 miles. Lengthwise. And I did some observations over there. I got some interesting shots of the moon. I kind of want to bring that up as a tangent. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting that ready right now, and kind of will show y'all where I was at and what I did. So let me pull that up over there for y'all. Boom. All right. So those looking, you should be able to see my screen now. So this is Bear Lake.
Gonna have to critique him now.
So this is Bear Lake in Utah. Again, yeah, it's 19 miles across. I ended up spending time over here in Garden City. This is around where I stayed in like a rental house, and yeah, we had super good fun. There was like 75 people there. We had Bible services, multiple times a day, and the children classes, and we had a whole bunch of events. Like this year, we put on glow in the dark, capture the flag. There's another family, they did piñatas. Another family, they did like games, track and field games. So yeah, it was a really good time with the family. Very edifying when it came to hearing all the different peoples and perspectives when it came to Torah, because we all the people there were obviously celebrating Shabbat, the Feast of Tabernacles, but we still have a whole bunch of different views, and I just reflect that kind of in our community here, that we do have different views, but we still love each other and treat each other like brothers and sisters, even though we may disagree on some stuff. So what I'm showing you here is this is the south end of the lake. Now, I drove up in here. I paid my $10 to get in here. It was because it was late. It's normally 15. I drove up around here and I parked here. Now I had my daughter with me because she wanted to have some time at the beach. So she definitely had some fun picking out some seashells while I was taking some pictures. So I basically parked right here. And I came up to the water line. Now, the water line may be different than when I took the pictures. I'm guessing it is. So this is obviously a little rough when it comes to the exact numbers. But so I was basically right where I put that marker, and the footage I'm showing you, I will be showing you, we'll be showing you a couple interesting things. Now, the main interesting shot that I got was about this 19 mile area. Now, that's obviously a little bit more, less than 19 miles, but you get the point. So basically, I shot this. Now, kind of some interesting things to caught before I pull up the imagery is I had a really interesting group, a family there. Now, they were very, I'll just say conservative, meaning, they were about having guns and they were about family and about, Torah and all the good stuff. But when I introduced to them the idea that per the Bible, the world that we live in is not the same as what so-called science describes, and so there was a lot of questions, but what about this, and those type of things, and I had some really interesting conversation with them, and it was very edifying. But what was not only cool about that was kind of the way that it happened. So to rewind a little bit, Austin had this camera. He used it, I believe, to take some space fake X footage, and for some other stuff. He then sent that to Tommy. Well, the timing, that Tommy is that flat fellow. The timing was a little bit off, so Tommy ended up not getting to use it, but he went out of his way to get it sent to me, and it got sent when I was here actually to Garden City, and some kind of cool things happened. So we didn't know where it was. We eventually found that I had to go to the post office to actually pick it up. I found it, but when I opened it, there was no memory card, and so I was like, crap, what am I going to do? I'm in the middle of nowhere. This place literally has 2 gas stations and 1 grocery store and a hardware store. I was like, what am I going to do? So I actually called around, and none of the stores had it, but then I called Ace's hardware store, literally the last thing. I was like, hey, do y'all happen to have camera memory cards? And sure enough, they did. I went there. They had 2 left. I got 1 of them. So that was kind of the first crazy thing that happened when it came to it, minus, all the workings of getting that camera safely to me from what was it, North Carolina, where that flat fellow lives. And the second thing is I got the camera, no memory. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I thought someone was gonna talk. No worries. So I played, I got the memory card. Awesome. I went and tested out the camera, was getting the settings all right and stuff like that. And then I went home, and then the next day I was like, okay, sweet, I'm gonna go take some footage, and I literally realized that it was about to die, and there was no charger. So I was like, what am I going to do? So when I was packing, step back, a handful of days, when I was packing, I literally grabbed a cord on accident, which happened to be, I didn't need that cord, other than the fact that I used it to charge the camera. So it was it was just weird things like that happened. I thought that another one was going to be because the family that I was originally talking about, they were going to rent a jet ski and a boat, and I was going to do a test with the boat and the jet ski, but that ended up not happening. What's up, Anthony?
Oh, I was asking, were you showing the footage of this?
Oh, not right now. Right now, I'm kind of just showing and giving kind of brief story and showing Google Earth right now on the stream. So anyway, I was here. I drove all the way down here, and I went to this place. Now, let me transition this over while I pull up the footage. So bear with me. I'm gonna pull up that footage for a second. Sorry if y'all hear some background noises as I do this. I just need to pull it up. So again, bear with me. That is going to be in here. And then we want... Man, I really should have named these. Alright, I'm going to mute the sound. Sorry if y'all hear that right now. Okay, this is definitely one we want to use. This is the main moon one. Sorry about that, guys. 1 second. So it's going to be down here. Get that out of here.
Hey, Austin. While he's doing that, how did you come up with the name Witsit Gets It?
I actually watched Owen Benjamin streams, and he used to always say, "This guy gets it," and I was like, "Yeah, that rhymes with my name," so I just made Witsit Gets It Bear, and yeah, then I just stuck with it because it rhymes.
And are you gonna do a stream with Owen at some point? That'd be so interesting if you guys had a dialogue.
That would be cool. I'm definitely down. I think it'd be a lot of gravy, maybe.
Oh my god, dude. Big Bear is like literally watching. You know what's funny about Big Bear? I've told this story before, but back in the day before he was a flat earther, he's banned me twice. He unbanned me twice. He banned me twice. So he basically, I was saying, dude, you got to check out the moon landing. And I was like, the Earth is flat, you know, and he kicked me out. And then another time. And this hasn't changed yet, but I'm assuming that eventually it was an Easter. He was doing an Easter stream, and I said, I was like, Big Bear, look into Ishtar equals Easter, and he was like, maybe people should be like rabbits and produce more children, and fertility. Maybe that's a good idea. So we're all not perfect, and I'm not judging Owen. I think he's hilarious, and he's brought so many people out of the dark, and like Bear Taria, and all they have going on is so awesome. And I would love to just even go to one of Big Bear's shows personally.
Yeah, and Austin, it's really cool. I feel like I guess I kind of speak for us, but the way I see it with what Owen Benjamin's done and what you have done that people are really into is like with Owen Benjamin, I feel like we all need to see someone come out of the Hollywood system who could break down all the deception, all this programming going on, and do it in a really full way and in a really funny way. So also with you, I think it's cool to see someone, also of a younger, generation, kind of come out and expose a lot of this stuff, in your own way. So there's definitely something going on there with, you and him and people like you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Owen's a legend, bro. Like, I agree. I disagree with him on some things, but I mean, I'm sure I'm wrong about things. And, yeah, I think it'd be cool. I've never tried to reach out to him. I do have a bit of a history just watching his chats, though. Funny enough, he would, like, single out my chats a lot. I guess you know how it is. Like, if someone says something with a lot of good points, you just start reading their name more often. And he would read my chats a lot, and then I'd send him PayPals. He did the I Am Mustache video where it's like everyone grew out a mustache and made these videos acting like they're really upset because people are judging them. And he put me in the I Am Mustache 2 video like throughout the whole thing. And then I sent him a PayPal. Actually, it's the verse lyrics from my In the Field song. I had found that, and some of it's different, and he started rapping it. He was like, because he hates rap, like making fun of me. He's like, "Oh, whoa, this is actually good." He ended up singing it and pulling the piano out, and he did a whole thing with it. It was pretty epic. And then, actually, the first time that I saw him publicly admit that he thinks the Earth is flat for sure is when he read my PayPal, and I said, "So Yeshua," but he says Jesus, so I said Jesus. I was like, so Jesus came to the Earth and didn't tell the Hebrew people that they were wrong about the Earth itself. And I was like, 99% of Christians duck the question. And he read that out loud, and he was like, I'm not going to lie, I think it's flat. So we have like a bit of a history where, it would be cool to talk to him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
can see that happening.
I've
Yeah,
had
that would be a great show.
and it's awesome when definitely Big Bear calls you out. I remember this one time when he like right when he came to like out of the glow model, and he was like his mind was just so open to the possibilities of like what is and what looking into all of it, and I think this is like a thing that I still hold is really true is like we're supposed to have like, and you kind of alluded to this, like we're never going to be able to fully know. It's like we're supposed to have that childlike wonder to look up at the stars and be like literally like twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are, and they just want to quantify it and be like it's a ball of gas made of nitrogen and hydrogen and it is neutral fusion. Like, you get what I mean? Like, they just want to quantify it, and it makes it so much less majestic and beautiful. So yeah, when Big Bear was like, yeah, exactly. It's just so cool when you have someone that big, like shout you out, and definitely, the history that you have, that's awesome. So
Yeah, dude. We were in Minneapolis, and I was doing the activism or whatever, and this guy randomly walks up to a bus and steals a bike. He just steals the bike that was hooked on the bus because the bus wouldn't let him on, and this black dude just steals the bike and takes off. And so someone sent him the clip, and he covered it, which is pretty hysterical because like we literally caught this dude on tape just stealing the bike, and I was like, "Where's Owen Benjamin when you need him?" He was like, "It's hilarious. Everyone just knows me as calling out bike thieves." But no, he's cool, man. And then I did a stream recently, dude. I swear, like it's called "Wish Upon a Star." Like, what are the stars? Enoch tells you what they are, and he tells you what the rebellious ones are, and then I wonder what you are, and wish upon a star, and the stars have come down, and I think they would blow our mind, and they appeal to the pride of humans where they want to know everything, and so they quantify it, they make up stories because they think they know everything, and it requires a lot more humility that points to the creator to be like, well, that was just created beyond my comprehension because the creator's that great. It's easier to appeal to pride, that's kind of like the trick, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. How you been liking traveling around the country, getting to see all these places? I mean, you enjoying it pretty good? I used to be a truck driver, and I enjoyed it for years until it just got to be the same old scenery all the time. But
yeah, it's cool, man. Like, I'm doing in the middle of like clown world activated for real, of course, and everyone's running around scared of the air and stuff. But it's cool. I've always wanted to see these places, but for me, honestly, I'm kind of ready to loop back around and just like get a wife and make babies and buy land and get some goats. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see everything, and I think that Yah's creation is very beautiful. And Utah, where Vader Bear's at, is beautiful. Montana's beautiful. Idaho's beautiful. Even California is very beautiful. And so it's cool to see it all, nature-wise. I like to see what the Father created. Like that's actually probably my main enjoyment. But outside of that, I'm kind of over it. It's a bit taxing. I'm not gonna lie, but I just felt called to do it. But so it's cool. I look at the positives, but I'm kind of looking more towards getting land and making babies now.
Yeah, absolutely. But I got 4 of those, so I enjoy that very much so.
Yeah, that's the move.
Being as young as you are and getting out and traveling is a great thing. I think more young people should do that. Just because it's an experience you'll never forget. You know what I mean? When you get older, I'm like 55, and if I would have did that when I was your age, that would have been memories that I would always have. You know what I mean? So it's a great thing that Yah led you out to travel, and he's been blessing you along the way. It's so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. It's definitely a blessing. Like I basically gave all my possessions away, and then I recently got in a wreck and I've lost my truck. So like my possessions have reset. So to someone else that doesn't understand, that they would look at it like, wow, you're basically homeless. You live in an RV and you don't have any possessions. You gave them all away, and now you're growing out a beard and you're just crazy, But I don't look at it like that. Like as soon as I stepped down to that faith, like I was supposed to be here, and I know that, and I have tons of confirmations, and I've had crazy experiences, and even getting arrested twice back-to-back days for speaking, I think he's going to work through that as well. And so, yeah, I look at it as a positive thing for sure. Like he blessed me where he wanted me to do something, but I wasn't left like on the short end of the stick. Like I've got to enjoy and see all this, and it's a crazy experience, and I've made good relationships, and So it's a positive thing. It required faith, though. And what I'd say, if anyone can take anything out of this, is sometimes I think we hold the creator back and we don't let him show out as much because we try to control things too much. And maybe if you really stepped out in faith, you'd find out that he's going to always have your back. Like, he's going to show out. The more that we let him, the more he's going to provide for you. And so I don't regret getting rid of everything I own at all. I would do it 10 times in a row.
I tell you,
it's just like Peter stepping out of the boat and walking on the water. I mean, you've done that, and he's caught you along the way, and he's kept you, and he's blessed you. And even though you lost your truck, you're going to have so much more. And every dream that you have, he's going to be with you, and he's going to help you establish it. It's so beautiful, man.
I agree, bro.
So, yeah, thank y'all so much for that conversation. So, kind of switch gears again. So, here on the screen, the first thing I'm going to show you. So, this is a little bit of the footage I took. Now, I'm going to bring up curve calculator, curvature calculator. Oh my god, I suck at spelling. Curvature calculator. I should have already had these up, but I restarted my computer. Earth curve. Or it doesn't give me the right one.
What you was doing.
All right, so in this in the picture I just showed you, I'll get back to it. So just to look at it, it's 3.5 miles to that road. So let's switch this to miles. 3.5. I'm no higher than 2 feet, but I'll just say 3 feet. And then, so the distance to the horizon should be 3.1413 miles. So just, this is kilometers. Oh my god. Distance to horizon in miles. Distance obscured in feet. Okay, so not much should be obscured in this shot, but what I just thought interesting about this shot, let me pull it up, is, so this is, because I was originally supposed to have a laser out there with this. Excuse me, but the guy ended up not bringing the laser, so we didn't get to do the laser part of the test. But so I was just catching those things at first. Now, obviously, with that curvature calculation that I just showed, well, we should be able to see what we're seeing here, because even though the horizon to the distance to the horizon is 1.121 miles, only 1.2 feet is obscured. So no worries there. Just kind of showing you some footage. And then for the longer shots, for the longer shots that I brought up, let me pull this up, let me pull that. Is this it? Sorry guys, I did not have it marked. So you can kind of see it in this one. Let me find the better one, and I will show you where I'm pointing here in a second. So you can kind of see those things moving on screen. It's kind of hard with everything else moving, but then I get a car that is shiny color. And so this is as good as a mirror reflection in my opinion. And so I'm tracking this car from right to left or east to west. And you see it sometimes, it goes away sometimes with that flicker. But I catch it up again, and there you go. You just see that car. You can see the one behind it moving. It's a darker vehicle, though. So the reason why I want to show that is because where I'm actually looking was that first one that I showed everyone. So let me pull up the new one, go back in here to get kind of as best as I can. So something like right here.
I'm not sure you're sharing the video on the stream, brother.
Oh my god. I'm so
I'm not seeing it yet either. I've been waiting for it to come on.
Dang it. Okay. All right, so I just was doing that. Yeah, y'all should have interrupted me a lot longer than that. I mean, sooner.
I just looked.
So polite.
You're good.
So polite, man.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, so no, so basically what I was saying in the first image, I was taking a shot here. Let me grab that. No, I don't want that one. So I was taking a shot from here to here. Oh my God. From here to here, and there shouldn't have been much coverage, but this shot right here, I'm literally tracking people from right to from east to west on this road at 19 miles. So let me pull up that footage again. Of course, I got rid of it. This one. So right there, that's the car on the far end of the lake, and you can see like a big truck right there. It's a dark colored semi with a white trailer. And well, and so I showed these pictures to people. And what I was trying to explain to them, as like we all know, but it's also awesome to just do this footage for yourself. Do this type of test for yourself. But let me pull that up again here. So 19 miles. So the distance to the object is 19 miles. I'm no higher than 3 feet. The distance to the horizon should be 1.121 miles. And there
we're
should
not seeing it on Take on the World.
you
Not
definitely
coming
not
video.
none of the video, nothing.
No, you can see it now. I'll take on the world. You can see the infrared.
You see it now? Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry.
All right. Well, sorry about that confusion. But anyway, so that road should be obscured by no more than 189.999 feet. So how am I possibly seeing? Now I brought up Google Earth because to be honest, I didn't drive all the way to the north side of the park. Google Maps, sorry, and I didn't drive all the way to the other side to kind of check it out. So what I did is I took Bear Lake. I took Google Maps. I went down on the water level over here, and then looked at kind of what I was seeing from that side of it. So bear with me as I zoom in. Go there. So if you kind of look, there is a little bit of an embankment here, but not much, just what it is basically for the shoreline. And so I was all the way over here on the south side of it, and in the background of the picture, let me play it again. You see this low-leveled mountain, and then it goes all the way over. See that next hump. So you have that low ridge, and so that's exactly what you're seeing in the background of basically right here. Obviously the angle's different where it's zooming in, but so yeah, for me personally, like I know this isn't any black swan or but to me, like being able to do this and zoom in and see the other side and see the cars move. Now I wish I would have got a zoom in from my position all the way into the side, but it was really hard to, like, I could do that if I was taking pictures, but when it came to trying to catch video, for some reason it would just not let me zoom in while shooting the video. So and I had less than a week to play with it, but before we get off this and some early showing stuff, I wanted to go ahead and shoot. This is the first footage that we shot when I first got the camera that night. Now this is me like playing with it at first and zooming into the moon, but I want to show this because I have some questions for y'all specifically about it. So here, I'll go ahead and play it.
Well, it can all be debunked in 3 words according to McToon. Level means curve.
Oh yeah.
Level means curve. That's right.
Yeah, it's crazy to think now that the Globers, their premise is that the globe is refracted into what looks like a flat plane, no matter how high you go. Like that's what the Globers are at now. That's like extraordinary to think about.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, that's, I mean, that's, 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 that's,
Are we watching a video? I can't see nothing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're showing the moon right now. What I was going to say is how crazy this camera is. Like, I don't know how much you played with it, Austin, but in the video, I'm like zooming in on the individual, like details of the moon. It's like, how am I zooming into something that's 237,000 miles away and seeing the detail I am? That makes no sense. Like, I'm going to stop the video real quick and, like, let's look at one of these supposedly called craters. Like, let's say, just for safety's sake, this little right here is the size of Utah. There is no way that if I was able even to get on the moon and turn around the camera from 237,000 miles and zoom in where I could just pull up just Utah into the frame. It's
Bro, that's
literally insane.
at the
Hey, Austin. Does anyone know exactly how far the moon is away from the flat plane?
No.
Who says it's a physical object? So how can you measure to something that's not physical?
Yeah, like I think it's just an apparent location. I would actually say it's not physical. Like if I had to guess, I would say it's not physical. So I don't know, but like no one knows, man. There's no way to know. You have to know the medium that it's in, and you would have to know the difference between the actual and apparent location, and you would have to know, like you said, that it's actually physical to measure it. It appears it may be a naturally occurring, like people get triggered when I say it, but a naturally occurring holographic image relative to the position on the Earth that you're viewing it. And you would never know how far away, if it's even technically far away from you, right? Like what does that mean if it's just a apparent image? So I don't know.
Is there any truth in it that it is plasma?
Possibly. There does seem like to be, like lunar waves are interesting. It could be. I really don't know. I will say when you zoom with the P900, it looks like it's got some texture to it, but you can actually just look at holograms that look the same way. So I really don't know what it is. I think it's a self-illuminating, naturally occurring, for intents and purposes, hologram based on the polarization of the electromagnetic field. It would cause the light to create basically a facade of a light that looks like solid.
Could it be an image off of the black sun coming out of the North Pole?
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, it could be a million things. No, I don't think there's anyone really in this, truth community will claim what it is for the most part. But kind of you're poking out at the texture. Like we can totally see texture in this picture, and people are like, see, those are craters. What I think is really interesting though is if you look on the darkened edge is where you're seeing the texture. On the the lit, quote unquote, lit edge, there is zero texture there. And so I don't really know what that means. And so when I was looking at this picture, it almost kind of looks like it's a bigger circle. Like that there's like a smaller circle and it's like a hole, and we're seeing an image through that hole, and there's something bigger there, but that hole is moving around kind of where we're seeing different parts of the bigger item at different parts of the year. Because I don't know, it just seems really weird how you have that texture. We obviously know it's not craters and from asteroids and stuff like that, so I don't know. Have anyone else ever thought of what possibly this texture could be?
There's a theory that it could be like paint when it bubbles up, that it could be like a latex texture like that. I've seen some stuff on that.
Like Hammy Nodell can show you where you can have something like an object, and then you can create polarization. It'll create a hologram, and what you're looking at looks identical to the object, and it looks solid. It looks like it's got texture. You can replicate the moon phases, the color changes, the appearance of shadow, the appearance of craters, but it's just light. You're just looking at light, but it looks like you could go touch it. And so is there something outside the firmament that has caused some natural hologram that we see? Or my point is simply that a hologram can look solid. I'm not saying I know that's what it is, but I'm saying it could just be a light and it could look solid. Is it potentially showing us something that's bigger outside of it? I guess that's possible too. Like I think this is one of those things we're not going to know, bro, in my opinion. But I think it's cool to try to figure it out. But yeah, I don't know that we'll ever figure it out.
It is reflecting off of the dome from the black hole sun.
Eventually, we're just going to have to go back to Scripture and take His word for it, because we won't know until we're supposed to know.
I agree.
Yeah, that's one of the other reasons I refer straight to Scripture on a lot of this stuff. Like in Joshua 10:12-13, where He commanded the sun and the moon to stand still. I mean, He commanded the sun to stand still at a specific location on Earth by name. And I mean, how does that work on a globe? Can you imagine the chaos if the globe stopped spinning one day? Just
right, and the fact that we're not told a lot about it, right, it kind of tells you all you need to know. Maybe you're not supposed to know all about it. Like, we're not told that much in the scriptures about the characteristics of the moon. Like, it gives off her light, and she will no longer give off her light at one point, right? And that's really kind of all we're told. We're not told a lot about it, and I think that's done intentionally. I mean, even if you look at the books that were removed, you don't get a lot of details about what the moon is.
Right.
And one thing like that, I always like at some point I just say, you know what, I have no idea, because what I've done before is there's like a lot of occult knowledge and information out there, right? So I feel like sometimes they put out information like for the peasants so that it confuses us. Like, it's like they put out certain information that will lead us down rabbit trolls. And I even think they do that to themselves, right? It's not like they just tell you exactly what it means to be a Freemason or a part of the, Special Boys Club until you've been there for a while. So, I see it kind of a similar thing. And then with church, right? Like, specifically when I was at Sakat, I used that same thing, but I used in Joshua, where he prays that the sun and the moon would stop, right? And it stopped for a whole day. Well, I said that to them, and I said, well, if that literally happened on a ball, that would destroy everything. It would be ripped apart. And he goes, that's what the miracle was. The miracle was that he stopped spinning the earth without everything being destroyed.
That's the problem you run into, right? It's like when I talked to my dad about it 5 years ago. They can just always appeal to the power of the creator. So it's like, dude, look at these incredible coincidences. There's no way. Well, the creator can do that. I'm like, well, this doesn't scientifically make sense. Well, the creator can defy what we think science is. And how did the sun literally stop? It would destroy the earth. And no, but yeah, exactly. That's the miracle. That's the power of the creator. So they can always appeal to it, even though they're misrepresenting him. And I think playing a dangerous game doing that, it's kind of hard. So it's almost harder to reach people that believe in the scriptures about the earth sometimes. It's hit or miss. It's either they're going to reread Genesis and like cry, or they're going to just go down swinging saying, well, he could do it, right? And that's what's super frustrating. Like, even with my family, I'm like, bro, you're just going to say this every time. You're not. He gave you a brain, he made us logical. The logic of the way the world works is what proves him, right? It's kind of sad. I don't know. So if someone doesn't want to be honest about it, they can explain it away constantly until they die.
And there was this one quote that was played on Sean's Kingdom and Context. It may have been West Blaze's Uncommon Ground, but it was a quote from I think it was Thomas Paine, and what it basically was saying. Let me find it real quick. I believe it's right. Where did I take that picture at? But anyways,
hey, does anybody else think this footage with the red haze kind of looks like Mars, doesn't it?
This is with an infrared, so that's why it looks the way it
Yeah,
does.
I mean, they could easily use that and say they went to Mars, and people would actually believe it because of the red tint and the glow of it.
Not to derail you too much. Yeah, that is hilarious. I think they actually use a filter. But like, this is just completely random, and I don't think that the scripture says this or doesn't say this. But what if, because again, you can create a naturally occurring hologram with the polarization of an electromagnetic field. We know that that's objectively here, the electromagnetic field. right? So what if it's showing us a depiction, just speculation, of the firmament itself? What if what if the moon kind of shows you what like an orthographic top-down view of the firmament looks like? Right, like because if you look at it, it looks solid and it looks like it's coming towards you a little bit, right? Like if we're being honest, it does look like that. So I don't know, pretty interesting because when you watch like the occultic, and I don't turn to the occultic practice to figure out the truth, but they like the Disney will show you the star go over the castle, the tower going through the firmament, and then they have one where it turns into like a moon, and it's going over the earth. It's like I don't know. But it's pretty interesting because you would have the solid terra firma, like the solidity of something physical to create the hologram, right? Like then there would be something solid there that would create it. So I just speculation.
I think.
Did you see the video on the meteor rocks? Somebody put a video up on, I forget, I think it was the Flat Earth 24/7. But it was of all the asteroids that they've collected, and to speculate, well, they're pieces of the dome, and they all have like metallic metal, like the dome is shiny, like you were just saying, like it reflects light. That's what gives us our blue color. And whenever you see lightning, you'll see the sky how it's dark at night, but the lightning will light up and it gets a blue haze where the lightning strikes. Mm-hmm. So saying that the dome is reflective. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Yeah, I've heard that. I just, I don't know.
How do you prove it?
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know how to prove it too. Well, also, I want to ask you a quick question, kind of going back. You was talking about your parents when you would bring up stuff to them. How do they feel towards you, or how do you feel that they feel towards you about kind of what you're doing, like traveling the world and spreading this gospel, basically?
I actually don't think they understand the magnitude of exactly what I'm doing. I told them that the Creator called me out in the world, and then I sold all my possessions and did it, and they've I didn't never just beat my parents over the head with flat Earth. My dad would kind of get upset, or my parents would get mad, and then we'd argue, and we agreed to stop talking about it, kind of. And they can't help but bring it up. So they've never even heard me fully explain flat Earth. They've never seen a debate. They've never heard me on the microphone. They have no idea the magnitude of my grasp of the subject or what I'm going around telling people. I kind of was given some contentment from the Creator, though, where he'll let him do it, and then they'll see through my life that, wow, Austin didn't just go out there and he was screwed. He's been out there for 9 months after selling everything, and he's fine, and he's being blessed. And that's kind of how I look at it, is the Creator will take care of it. What do they think? I think they thought it was crazy, and then over the course of the last 9 months, they've realized, I'm consistently being blessed, and then I get out of being locked up, and I get kicked off YouTube first stream. And then I look at my Cash App dude, I'm not even able to make it home. I'm quitting the tour, and I have $777.00 in my account with 30 donations and 20, expenses that were taken out, 538 and random, 77700. And my mom knows about that. And so I think that it'll just kind of hit them, at his timing, and I would assume that they probably certainly at first thought it was crazy, bro, because they just think it is crazy. They don't really realize the magnitude of what I'm doing, I don't think.
Well, I hope
definitely y'all will reveal that to them.
Oh, 100%, dude, because dude, you this stream wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for you going out and doing activism. So and that's us, right? But how many other groups are out of there, or people have come to start to pick up that paintbrush that they used to do but they don't anymore, or whatever it is, whatever talent, puzzle piece that the Father has given to them. I think that they will see, because a prophet isn't received in his hometown, right? So I think the way that you've changed and are changing the world is going to make it back to them 100%, and I think that will be a huge blessing to you when it happens, right? Because you've seen the worst of it, and the Father I definitely will will bless you with seeing the best of it.
I certainly hope so, man. But yeah, I'll definitely leave it up to him, man. And yeah, that's what I love to hear, man, because that's why I do it. I like if Austin can go out there and do it with his chipped tooth, dropped out of college, and you can do it too, man. Like you can go out there, you can be bold and speak it, and that's really like what I hope people take away from it is kind of motivation to jump out there and be bold, and that's what he wants from us. And I'll let the chips fall where they may, right? If my family doesn't see, they may see, but he gave me contentment with that. He used to mess with me a lot, but yeah, I'm just gonna let it be, man, and do the most that I can and let God use me how He does, and that's really all I can do,
Yeah, we got a guy on this channel that wants to do what you're doing. So when you are done, somebody else is definitely going to pick the man up, bro.
That's awesome.
You're creating you're laying the groundwork for a whole army to come out and do what you're doing. And we're going to see many more people streaming it, doing it, and they're going to use your model that Yah gave you.
I've already heard so many people like on here being like, I want to go do what Austin's doing. Like, I don't want to do it about flat Earth. I want to do it about Yeshua. But like, you are literally giving people courage. And even me, dude, like when I was at the Sakat, right? Like a lot of you put a very good amount of points in a very small amount of time. And so like picking, gleaning from those, those things that you say and having all that information, in a nice established way, like is able to pull people's minds kind of out of their programming better than I had in the past. So like, yeah, definitely me, definitely other people. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and even like everyone knows, like the tour is gonna come to an awesome. It was meant to be exactly what it was, and but I think like propelling forward, dude, we're gonna see a lot of, like Frankie was saying, other people following your shoes.
Yeah,
thank you, man. That's what I like to hear.
When you came up with that phrase, "I'm not afraid of the air that I breathe," there was some guys breaking my balls at work about not having a mask on, and I started singing, "I'm not afraid of the air that I breathe," because I got it from you, man. I was like, "Wow, that's," and they were all laughing, But I try to make a joke out of it, just trying to get them out of the fear that the media is putting on them, man. And one guy said, I said, "Are you really afraid of the air?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Wow, it's so crazy."
And it's not even logical, right? Like if
no, it ain't. It's not really. It ain't. It's the air we've been breathing all of our life.
If virology was real in the first place, nothing as small, like that's literally trying to keep out mosquitoes with a chain link fence. It makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a logic test, right? But I mean, what are you gonna do? And like I will say, dude, like I appreciate the compliments, but I feel like Yah's kind of using this to refine me, because back in the day on this tour, if I went on this tour 5 years ago, I would have been in 30 fights and I would have hit someone in the mouth like 10 times, first. And so like I'm still working on like really keeping my cool, and sometimes I still get worked up, or I kind of like let my emotions get a hand, and it's just like a refinement process for me. And I think that that's kind of what the creator wants us to do, man. He wants to put us in these positions where we have to react, and it kind of refines us, right? Where we start to get more control of how we should convey this message. And so I can tell I'm getting a little better, and I'm trying to work on it. And that's what I say to everyone. The only way to really experience it is to just do it. And when I first did it, bro, and people may not be able to tell because I might carry myself pretty confident, like I would get nervous sometimes, and like that's just normal, man. Like just do it. When you do it now, like I can step in front of 100,000 people at the NBA Finals and I don't get nervous. But I wasn't like that at first, and so I think if we would all just kind of try to do our part, the creator's going to work on you, man. He's going to show you what you need to work on. He's going to give you boldness. Like pray to him before you do it, and then you'll just continue to grow, and you'll see your weaknesses, and then you get to try to work on it. And if we all do that, so that's what, to me, that's like the most amazing thing to hear, is that other people are motivated to do it, because I think that's what we're called to do. Yeah, like go out to the world, even if it's not, maybe people can't do what I did 9 months straight going around the U.S. I know it's obviously not feasible for everyone, but just do what you can do, even if it's once a week, once a month. You go meet somewhere, and you'd be surprised what those seeds will bring back.
Yeah, that flat fellow, his model of just getting like a cheap table at the local flea market and doing kind of like casual flat smacking like that works really well too. You know, for me personally,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
good.
I'm just telling pretty much all family and friends, like, you know, isn't it weird that we're sitting on the beach and we can see land like 17 miles across the bay, which is supposed to be 200 feet, you know, below the curve, and just starting conversations with, like, you know, family on the beach. So, you know, everyone's got their own lane.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you like
Go ahead, Frank.
me and Nick are we're gonna step out and start doing shows eventually, and I'm playing guitar and singing, and I've never done that. I've been a bass player for most of my career, and but with the words you just said and just getting out there and doing it, I know that Yah's gonna have my back, and he's gonna add whatever anointing I need to get the worship out there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, bro. And the more you step out in faith, the more he shows out, bro. Straight up. I've learned that more
Yeah.
than anything else.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
brother.
I just want to do it, and I just want people to be touched by the Spirit. I mean, Nick and I have written like 7 songs, 8 songs. I'm working on another one, and they're all just worship, Torah, just pure worship songs. And the chord changes. I just started playing guitar a year ago, and the chord changes he's given me, they're melodically beautiful. And Nick's got a really good voice, and he's singing on a couple of them. So it's going to be exciting. I can't. We're in the maturation stage right now, learning the material, getting everything formatted and structured. I believe once we get out there and do it, it's going to be like you said. Show after show, it's going to get easier and better, and more anointing is going to come. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yep, that's
Also,
how it works.
I wanted to say one thing right quick about your parents, man. I know that they realize what a dear blessing you are to them, and I want you to know it. And I also want to shout out my mama, Amy Castles, is her birthday today, so I want to tell her happy birthday right quick.
Happy birthday, Anthony's mother.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
But anyway, you've been a dear.
Somebody had a question in the chat. When you're done, Anthony, I'll ask it.
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
Austin.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was
a woman asked, "What is your thoughts on Tartaria?" Kendall Arnaud, what is your thoughts on Tartaria? And something about clowns and demons.
Let me see here.
Do you have any thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, I think that we were obviously lied to about the architecture that we see. It's super advanced. It looks like it was made with cymatics or certain frequencies. Who made it? I don't know. I definitely don't agree with the idea that the millennial reign already happened and that's where it's from. I don't agree with anything like that, but I do agree that they were more advanced, and Freemasonry is because they went and took the masonry, which is stonework, for free. They went and got free masonry by taking over all the architecture and claiming it was theirs, and they just hid our history so we wouldn't know how advanced they were. So when maybe the deception comes back from these rebellious entities, we can be deceived better because we don't know it happened already. And so, yeah, we're definitely being lied to about the advancement of previous civilizations.
Yeah, we're being lied to.
We've had that talk about Tartaria like within Discord before, and my kind of views about it, just to touch on it, I think that all those buildings, and it connects even to more what Austin just said about Freemasonry, like literal Freemasonry, is I think it's post Tower of Babel. I think that all the, like, you had this ancient civilization that was created during Nimrod's time. He took over all these nations and gave the technology he had to them, and then once there was a dispersal, everyone went back to where they came from. They just went to these buildings that their forefathers used. That's how I kind of see it, because especially with Freemasonry, they have like Nimrod is the most special of the special boys. Like if you really look at any of the high Freemasonry, when they're talking about Lucifer, at least in my opinion, they're talking about Nimrod because he is the son of the morning star. He is the most special son of the evil one. So that's how I kind of view what all those buildings from. I think they and just I remember one time they were talking about this on Glowbusters, and Cammy was talking about how she went into one of these cathedrals and she could feel the difference, and that started making me think because most of these cathedrals were at least were said to be created by the Catholics, and then we look at the Catholics and we know they're full of control, and it made me start thinking that those buildings are actually like magical props. They're magician devices where they are creating physical resonance and frequencies that are tricking people into having quote unquote spiritual experiences. And I think that was maybe they used those buildings as a way to as another way to control the masses that used them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's some gravy, bro. Because it's definitely built for frequency manipulation. So that is tied into your emotions. So that's a trip to think about. They kind of use it to make you think that you're having a spiritual experience while manipulating your frequency.
Hey, Austin, quick random question. We probably get done quick. But do you think maybe James, the moderator at Modern Day Debate, is like an undercover flat earther, or kind of like maybe like not married to the globe because he's allowing like 2 to 3 flat Earth debates every month? I'm kind of dying to ask you this.
Well, yeah, I think it's a super popular topic. I think that he knows it's not as open and closed. I'm not going to disclose any personal information or personal conversations or anything, but yeah, I would say that he definitely doesn't think that flat Earth is stupid. I'll say that.
Yeah, he thinks it's important. No, I appreciate that. That's what I was getting the sense of.
That's awesome. Well, I take back my rude comment then.
I love James. I love that platform, and he's just like all about letting all these dialogues get going and work himself out. I'm really blessed by it.
I will say, out of all the moderators, he seems like he's the most legit. Like I've seen other modern day debates with different, and there was definitely, I feel, it was like one-sided, but.
Well, yeah, and even with him, it kind of is, but he knows that. Beyond, like, he doesn't really moderate; he just kind of sits there unless it gets really out of hand. But 90% of the people think the Earth's a globe, and so you got to kind of understand he can't be like blatantly in favor of the flat earther. He just couldn't do that, and so. I'm cool with what he does because he gets a bunch of people that normally wouldn't listen to Flat Earth to listen. I was just in California yesterday, right? Like I'm at Santa Monica Pier, and I'm on the microphone for literally 10 seconds, a literal 10 seconds. This is pre-YouTube because I was talking about the whoop-de-whoops, and someone walked up to me and said, bro, Witsit Gets It. And I was like, yeah, what's up, man? I assumed it was a Flat Earther that came to me, right? He's like, I've seen you on Modern Day Debate before. And I was like, oh, yeah? I was like, so he's like, yeah, when you debated Vegan Gains, who has like 350,000 subs, and I was like, oh, so you found out about the Earth? He's like, oh, no, I'm not necessarily completely there with you. I agree with you on everything else, though. So it was literally some random person in California on the pier, when I was on the mic for 10 seconds, knew who I was, knew my name because of Modern Day Debate, right? So I think in that way, it's kind of a positive.
Absolutely.
That's kind of how I feel. Well, right quick, I hate to change gears and everything, but, I did kind of say something in chat to see if anybody might have any questions for you, Austin. But I haven't gotten any questions yet, but I do have a verse. It's from F'd Up World, Joe Hill, good friend of mine, love him to death. But he wanted to send you a verse. It says, Enoch 45:5, and I will transform the earth and make it a blessing, and I will cause mine elect ones to dwell upon it. But the sinners and evildoers shall not set foot thereon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what he's getting at or anything like that? He just said he had a verse for Austin. But if it's cool with you, if anybody's got any questions, if you're cool with answering questions from the chat or something.
Yeah, I'll answer whatever questions. I don't know exactly what he's asking with that verse. I mean, that just sounds like the new heaven and earth to me, right? It sounds like a reiteration of the millennial reign to me. So I don't know if I'm missing something or.
I kind of think it sounds like that to me too. It may even be referring to the wheats and the tares. It
kind of made me think of the moon landing, but I don't know. I don't get that. Maybe there's more context there that we need.
Yeah. Also, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but Austin, I wanted to get a quick comment. You were about to. It seemed like you were about to do a Shabbat scripture study about Paul, like maybe being the Antichrist or like that idea out there about a month ago, and then you canceled it. I know it'll probably take a long time to talk about that subject, but I was wondering if you could comment on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So we hear a lot of people talking about how basically Paul's an Antichrist, and so Jack and I were going to do a stream to kind of cover why people say that and what we think. And obviously, my answer is that no, he is not. I will say there are some sketchy things he says. I randomly called Jack way before I ever even heard this idea because he says it's better that you be like me and you don't have children. But if you cannot help yourself because of the lust of the flesh, then get a wife and have children. And well, Yah straight up tells us to do that. He tells us to be fruitful and multiply. So no, it wouldn't be better to be like you and not have children. He tells us to. And he also calls a statue God, right? But the argument being that he's relating to the people around him. And then some people argue that they may have added a couple things in the current version of the New Testament that we have, like the Catholic Church tells you not to have babies, right? So maybe they throw that on there, and Paul never said it again. There's a couple things, but no, overall, I don't necessarily rock with the idea that he's some like Antichrist figure. I will say he's been taken out of context when he said that we shouldn't do away with the law. God forbid we do away with the law. Should we do away with the law? God forbid. He says that like 5 times, and yet the modern church just props him up to justify doing away with the law due to not interpreting him. So I think most of it comes from taking him out of context, misrepresenting what he's saying, and that's kind of where I would go. It's an interesting conversation. The reason that it got canceled was because literally the service wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work for some reason, and so I kind of took that as a sign as I wasn't supposed to cover it right then. So.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you ever get led back to touching on that subject because it is really interesting getting into those different areas of Paul. Yeah, go ahead, Vader.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd love to hear Jack's thoughts about it too, and that's like kind of what my thoughts about it are. Is I feel like the whole reason why there's that one side that's like Paul is false prophet, etc., is because, like you said, they're taking out of the context. They're not realizing who Paul was and who Saul is Paul, who he was. And literally, if you are reading Paul from the standpoint that he's like, I feel like most people read Paul from like his writings and his letters from the standpoint that Paul is a Gentile. And he's not. He's a Jew. And so, like in all these quote-unquote Jew. So in all of these contexts, when he's talking about things, he's literally coming from the perspective of already following Torah. Like Yeshua died, right, and then resurrected, and Paul didn't stop celebrating Shabbat, didn't stop, on Saturday, didn't stop going to Sukkot and all the different feasts and things that they're required to do. And a lot of people will just say that for the Jew, that all that stuff, it's just for the Jews, it's not for the Gentiles. But then you look at the mixed multitude of Egyptians and people that left with the Exodus and then were taken into the different tribes and literally assimilated into the house of Israel. And so that's exactly what we are. Just like those Egyptians, the mixed multitude, we are wild vines that the Father then cuts off and grafts onto his cultivated vine. And so, like Wes and Sean say it good, where they're like, did Jesus go around teaching the New Testament, teaching Corinthians? And no, he was teaching the law and the law and the prophets, just like it had been the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy deep conversation, right? Because the argument that people have is like, look, the apostles didn't trust him or accept him. And like, yeah, they didn't trust him. They were sketchy of him because he literally used to persecute believers, right? So, of course, they were sketchy of him. But I wouldn't go as far as to throw Paul out. I think that's very extreme. And I think he has a lot of wisdom. And he's taken out of context like Romans. They use Romans a lot and talk about, well, look, this is what the government text means. Well, the Romans wrote him a letter, and we read his response letter. Dare I say, maybe the Vatican has the initial letter. And so we're constantly reading letters out of context where he's answering specific questions to a specific group of people at the time who had a specific authority figure over them. And he said, look, it may be hard to understand, but trust the authority that's over top of you. The Father put it there for your protection, right? So that's one thing about Paul, right? It's a bunch of letters to different groups of people, and we're missing the context, and it's been taken and manipulated to justify throwing away the law. And I don't think judging Paul as a character based upon the manipulation of his writings is very wise. I think there's a middle ground there where we should just kind of hold off on those extreme accusations.
Exactly.
Hey, Sean. I mean, Austin. Is there a reason that you've stopped doing the Torah studies on Saturdays?
No particular. Yeah, it's just like the amount of time I have. Like I'm literally like constantly busy, and I do like to kind of rest when I can. And then he also does streams with Karen B. So I do like to chill. I don't really consider it working when I go do activism, and like I'm doing work for him, right? And so I've prayed about that, and I don't have any conflict with that. But he does a different scripture study with Karen every day, and so if the timing doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. So it's nothing more than that. Jack's still my homie. We'll probably end up doing it again.
Dude, I've never seen as many people spiral as when Jack comes on.
I
actually love it, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
I love to watch all the gammas be like, but.
No, it's crazy. Like, I don't even necessarily agree with him on everything, but I don't agree with anyone on everything. But I will say that man studies the Hebrew in depth and has done so for over a decade. And when you ask him a question, he's going to give you the most thorough answer you've ever heard. And then I go fact check him live, and sure enough, he's telling what the Hebrew says. And he focuses solely on the Torah, and it's like, okay, man, that's what you're led to do it. So I think it's very beneficial to look at the Hebrew and what all it could mean, not just what KJV says it means. And yeah, people just get triggered. It's just that religious indoctrination where like it's kind of like the globe, like where if you say something that is new and contrary to what you thought you knew, some people can't open their mind. But I think the Creator wants us all to be humble now and realize that we are all just learning, and we had books removed, and none of us know everything, and we're going to have major revelations, certainly in the times that we live, where we were wrong about things, right? And so we're not supposed to know everything. We're just supposed to be humble and try to figure it out, right? And like, so when people get triggered, I'm like, whatever, you're just showing your fruit.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of to speak what you're talking about, so the logo that we have, the dome, the table, there's the world with the puzzle pieces. Now it's the Gleason map. It's the best representative, I think, that we have. Like, obviously it's not correct, but there's missing puzzle pieces, and then we have the spinning puzzle piece. And that's what this whole thing about is literally us coming together and having a place to share those puzzle pieces. And I said this a million times, like, and you were talking about it earlier about about the Father refining you. And it's like he refines us in physically and mentally and spiritually, and so like here I've said this in your stream before, like in order for iron to sharpen iron, you literally need heat, friction, and the removal of material. We all have stuff that we've been wrong about, that we are wrong about, and if we are willing to take that iron to the iron and remove that, those pieces that are no longer sharp, that are dull, it's like having, like you were saying, being humble. It's like with Torah, with the cosmology, all of that, it's like the saying, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And how true is that, right? Like, now that we are in the perspective, like earlier someone was talking about lightning. I think it was Frank Me. Like, is lightning what it says it is? Does rain happen the way? Like, what if it's like the Bible where there's storehouses of rain, and the reason why there's there's clouds is so that the portals can open so that the rain comes out, or however that works, you know what I mean? So it's like being able to question everything is so much better than just quantify saying lightning is a discharge of aesthetic electricity, you know, in the air to the ground. It's like, I don't know, I think things are way more beautiful than that. So anyway.
Yeah, let me answer this question. Someone asked me a question in chat real fast. Do you think the Antichrist or second beast is indeed a man, a system, or something else? I think it is a literal character that's been here before, just like the first beast has been here before. The man of many names, the one of seven, but will be the eighth. So he was the first Babylonian king, right? Who's that? Nimrod, Osiris, Apollo, man of many names. The second beast, I think, is also a man of many names. And he will come back and effectively be the false prophet, do lying signs and wonders, and point to the beast, bring life to the image, and get people to worship the image of the beast. And it will point to him, and he's been here before, and these two people or characters were worshipped throughout all of history. And if you want a really in-depth breakdown, you can go to Kingdom Cast. I think he does a really job. I haven't found things I disagree with him on regarding that. But the people that kind of grasp at straws saying that they're different kingdoms, I think that's much more just interpretation, when really the Bible actually answers the question, and it tells you who these people are, is the way that I see it. So there's a short answer for that.
Yeah, Wes Blaze and Sean did a real good video on Nimrod and the Beast to Come, and they did it this week.
Yeah, exactly. West Blaze Music did one with it. They did it like Wednesday, so go look at the last video on Uncommon Ground. West Blaze Music, super good. And then Sean also has Kingdom Cast, where he covers things in the Babylonian series, and he covers the second beast in one of his last videos as well. And that's where I would go. They're literal characters that come and have crazy abilities, and people worship them as gods. So
yeah, I almost think that that Nimrod got the gift that was promised to Eve in the garden. And what was, because the Philosopher's Stone is referred to as something that, like, not only changes material, but it can also grant you immortal life. And I think the reason why there's so much stuff about that is because because we're gonna get into Nimrod more later down in our series, but I'm leaning to think that because there's so much occult praise to him, like every mystery religion is basically based off of him, that when he was around, I think that definitely since there was all the Nephilim and that died during the flood, you had all these leftover unclean spirits. I think he was very much into talking to them, and I bet they revealed to him a lot of secrets, information technology, and that's kind of also the starting point of mystery religions now, is talking to unclean spirits to get information. So just a thought.
Yeah, hey Olsen, keep this going. Every time Vader mentions Nimrod, Yah gives us $10 each, so we're already up to about $100. So keep talking about Nimrod, please.
Well, I'm still thinking 10,000 shofars in DC for 7 days. I believe that give people the sound of the word of Yah. And it's such a beautiful sound. I mean, think about it. 10,000 shofars for 7 days straight.
Yeah, that would be crazy. It'd be crazy to do, but it'd be super awesome.
I believe people would hear the word.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, is anyone, Frankie or Anthony, do you see anyone in chat that has any questions that we want to bring up?
Well, I do want to say one thing. I just noticed that either Chris or Liz, don't know which one, Take on the World TV has been checking out the stream, and I want to tell them much love and give them a shout out at Take on the World TV. Love what they do. I went to their conference, and I'm telling you, that was a very moving experience. And Austin, I want to invite you to it next year, brother. I really think you should show up to that, brother.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I missed it.
For letting us stream on their channel and everything, and much love to them, and much love to everybody for showing up. And thank you very much, Austin. You're a dear blessing to all of us, man. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, we can. It's a little early, but we can get close to wrapping it up. I'm reading chats right now. I'm just seeing if there's any other questions out there before we cut it out. Now, Frank.
Yeah, I don't see nothing.
All right,
I don't
Frankie.
see
Were you
no
wanting?
direct
Were
question.
you wanting? So, were you wanting to sing us out tonight? So, what I was kind of, if it's cool with Austin, I was gonna let you sing us out, and then I was gonna play his "In the World" video to close
Yeah,
us
that'd be
out.
cool. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Are you cool with that, Austin?
Yeah, of course, man. Whatever.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes now, guys. Let's start off with you, Anthony.
Oh, I thought I'd already done mine, brother.
Oh yeah. If you did all yours, awesome.
Yeah, much love. Shabbat shalom. Thank you very much again, Austin.
Yeah.
No doubt.
All right. Well, I'll go and I'll leave, and then we'll have Witsit go, and then Frankie will close us out, and then I'll close out the stream with the song, with "In the World." So, guys, I so appreciate y'all being here. Austin, again, I appreciate you being here, brother. We all love watching your work and all the things you do, and you've definitely inspired of a lot of us. So, thank you for that. Keep up the work. And of course, you'll just continue to being blessed. It's just a little tangent. To literally watch your path, like to see you say, the Father set me out on this path, and the stuff with be the snitch, and the stuff with being in, being locked up, and all the struggles like that you've had along this way, and seeing you having that enduring spirit. It's so awesome, brother. So thank you for that. Everyone in the stream at Take on the World, thank you for being here. I saw you, Wes. Thanks, brother. And everyone else there, and then those that are watching from Enclosed Cosmology Fellowship, thank y'all for being here. Y'all are a blessing to us, and I always say this. We do these streams because we want to share our puzzle pieces with you, and we want you to share your puzzle pieces with us. So in every video, in the description, we have a link to our Discord. People will also, the mods will throw it out if you're interested in joining. Come and join us. Join in the chats that we have throughout the week. Join us on the streams. And, more the merrier. So, again, Shabbat Shalom, dear brothers and sisters, and I'll throw it over to Frankie.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Austin, for coming on. It was a real blessing, a real pleasure. I'm so glad we got to talk to you and share some family time together. I just really hope you were blessed and were comfortable and had a really joyous time. And this song is called "Love Is Your Witness."
Oh, before you go, let's. I totally meant to go to Austin.
Yeah, you want to say goodbyes? Yeah, let everybody say goodbyes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for having me on, bro. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words. You guys are awesome, and you guys have awesome conversation, bro. I did a little post in my first time I ever made a YouTube post. I didn't even know that was a thing. To try to send people over here, I'll try and help build your channel a little bit, the best I can, And I would love to jump on again, man. We have good conversations over here. We're supernatural, flowing. I can't make promises in advance as to the dates, But thanks for having me on, and I enjoyed it. Much love, everyone. Shalom.
Shalom, indeed. All right, Frankie.
All right. This is called "Love Is Your Witness." Love is your witness. Love is your witness. Let it shine. Let it shine. It's better to give. That's the way. It's how you live. And what you say. Could be. Get right out. Overcome evil with the song. Love is your witness. Love is your witness. Love is your witness. Let it shine. Let it shine. Love is forgiveness. Love is kind. Love is patient. All the time. Love is forgiveness. Love is kind. Love is patient. All the time. Love is complete. Love is complete. Love is complete. Let it shine out. Let it shine out.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. All right, everyone. Good night. I'm going to finish us off with Witsit's new song featuring Kai. It's In a World. Here we go, guys. Shabbat Shalom. Until next time, remember the Father loved you first.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
The earth is flat. Oh, yeah.
Running through the cities in the last of days. Gotta face the truth, this is the masquerade. Waking up the public, time to liberate. No, you're doing great when they start to hate. In a world, yeah.
Stockholm Syndrome got me fighting with the slaves. But how they about to face the truth when they can't show their face? Now the system don't control me, yeah, the beast is getting slayed. Austin got the pout, they look sour, oh behave. But I'm bout my father business, witness, he gon' get this praise. I ignore ya, cause of Torah, only thing that I obey. I ain't with the social distancing, but I'ma need my space. They be boring me with quarantine, so stay up in your place.
Everybody on here?
Running through the cities in the last of days. Gotta face the truth, this is the masquerade. Waking up the public, time to liberate. No, you're doing great when they start to hate. In a world, yeah.
I'm sorry we didn't go to the moon, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't lie to you, bro. I'm sorry. I think it'd be cool if we went to the moon too, dude. It was a cool story. I'm sorry you got triggered.